Hi, so today we're going to be talking about the prairie and the food chains in the prairie. So let me explain. Um, when we're learning about the prairie and all the plants and all the animals that it had, how did it fit together in food chains? Um, did plant eaters consume any plant that they found? Did predators catch all kinds of animals for food, or maybe some of them? And I want to explain more. Okay. For the vocabulary today, we have the word thrive. Thrive means to be successful, to grow strong and healthy. Okay, so food chains in the prairie. Okay, in the prairie, we have a type of animal called the bisons, like these ones in the picture. They were leaf eaters or grass eaters, and insects live on less hardy plants. Rodents and birds ate seeds. Plant eaters or herbivores or primary consumers selected their food. The animal's size and structure were important in deciding what it would eat, and the size and structure of predator animals were important factors too in deciding what they ate. For example, hawks could catch rabbit, but not weasels. Okay, then foxes would catch prairie chickens, but not hawks. So, what I want you to understand is that animals in the prairie ate some things, but they don't eat everything that is out there. It's like, for example, maybe you like eating some things, but you don't like eating another things. Predators did eat a wide variety of different animals, but even the best hunters of the predators didn't feed on every type of animal, so they were kind of selective. Some animals were eaten by many different predators. For example, grasshoppers, mice, and rabbits were links in many food chains. So different types of animals ate these type of specific animals: grasshoppers, mice, and rabbits. Okay, so when several food chains on the prairie are brought together, they are going to be connected like a web. This is a food web. We have talked about this before. Remember, for example, you have grass, and then grass gets eaten also by a grasshopper, but also by a mice, and also by a bison. But a bison gets eaten by a wolf. And then a mice can be eaten by a snake, by a badger, by a hawk, and then the grasshopper gets eaten by a chicken. So you see that like they share some links in the food. You know that changes occurred in the prairie balance of nature over time. So some were natural causes, like all ecosystems are gonna change thanks to weather, the water cycle, if there's a flood or drought or disease. They also change when a new species of animals or plants is introduced to an ecosystem from the outside. For example, what happens if a person brings a different animal to a place and that place is not used to an animal or plant, and that can cause a big problem. Okay, so changes in the balance of nature sometimes can have human causes. Human cause it to change. So as humans, we have to be careful about what we're doing with nature, and I'm going to explain more about that. Okay, um, and and I want to explain a little bit more about the natural changes. So the prairie plant and animal groups depended on each other for survival. When drought, so not enough water, came to the prairie, tall grasses would die. Short grasses took over. There were more short grasses. More grasshoppers survived in dry years. Soon, the smaller amount of grass couldn't support all of the grasshoppers, so the grasshoppers moved on, joining other in great numbers. Soon, some of the primary consumer populations are gonna grow larger. The secondary consumers ate the weakened insects. Their food supply went down and they too became weak. So what happens is if there wasn't enough rain, there all the tall grasses would die. Then the short grasses took over. So more grasshopper started to reproduce. And then animals that ate grasshoppers started to reproduce too because there was so much food. But then they ate them all and they didn't have enough food. And then suddenly all of the secondary consumers, wolves, eagles, bears, had a large supply of weak animals because they weren't eating that much. So now a bear, for example, has a lot of like small animals to eat because those animals are not eating enough. So all of their population starts increasing because they have lots of food. But then the food runs out. So it's like a chain. If there's not enough grass, then all of the animals are gonna start dying eventually. So the weak and unhealthy animals are used up until just enough of each kind of animal remains for that dry prairie to support. So nature always finds its balance. That's what I'm trying to explain. Okay? But then on wet years on the prairie, years where it's raining a lot, um, all of the plant and animal populations start to increase. But then when the rainfall gets back to normal, all of the population is gonna decrease, it's gonna get smaller. So wet years and dry years are important factors in how the prairie change. Seasons caused great changes. Spring and summer brought the growing season for plants and reproduction time for most animals. Why reproduction time? Because in spring and summer you get lots of rain, and when there's raining a lot, um, you have more plants. You have more plants. Animals have more food. They can grow. They can have babies because they have enough to supply for them. So when the animal population was its highest, like you have more animal, you had more food. By fall, many younger or wicked animals had become prey to others. So animals that are sick or really small get eaten by other animals. And then plant food starts to become scarce because the weather is changing. You don't have enough food. And then by winter, some animals start getting sick or weak and by spring and die. And then by springtime, again, the next year, only the strong animals had survived. Okay. Now we're going to talk about the changes that humans make. So Native American Indians, the people that used to live long time ago in the United States, lived on the prairies for many years. They were part of the balance of nature. They consumed plants, they hunted animals, but they respected nature and their numbers were few. That wasn't a lot of people. So they didn't cause big changes in the balance of nature. But in the 900th century, many pioneers, so people that first started like coming from the United States, from Europe, came to the prairie region and they started like using the land to grow crops. They put up fences to keep in sheep and cattle. And then the hunters started eating the bison, and many predators went away to like far away areas where there wouldn't be any people. So now today, the prairie has been it's covered by farms and ranches. So all of that natural grass has been changed to grow wheat and corn and other planet crops. So nearly all bison are gone. Deer are gonna like move to the wooded areas. Eagles and other birds are protected by law, so you can't hunt them. But then pigs, sheep, dairy cattle, beef cattle, chicken, and turkeys are raised in great number in farms, but it's not the same balance of nature anymore. Um, the prairie water, the carbon and chemical cycles help farmers grow crop. That's good. But the balance of nature has changed because humans have like intervened a lot. But we haven't changed the ecosystem completely, but a part of it, yes. Okay. Rodents live among the new types of plants. Birds thrive there. Chemical for farming have not gotten rid of all of the insects, and weeds still grow. So right now on the prairie, we still have birds, we still have rodents, we still have weeds and insects, but we don't have all of the same animals because humans have scared them away. Okay, so that would be